Andy Einhorn, 40-year Huntington Beach resident. This council is off the rails. You burn through taxpayer dollars on unwinnable lawsuits, book banning, voter ID, housing, and don't forget the air show settlement fiasco. Every dollar wasted defending your failures is stolen from our parks, libraries, schools, and neighborhoods. Your groupthink mentality is not leadership, it's arrogance. This council has divided the city. You are trusted to serve all of it. We need leaders who will govern for everyone, not from the far right or the far left. We need balance, not extremism. Your MAGA orientation is far from the center. Your vision is toxic. Your patriotism is a mask for your power grab. This warped version of leadership has dragged our city in the wrong direction. And I truly hope that possibly some of you can change your ways because Huntington Beach deserves better. Good evening.
Next speaker.
Mayor and City Council, I'm here to speak on voter ID and the terrible situation of the mail-in ballots that they're sending to everyone, even if you just go to the DMV and get a driver's license, whether you're a citizen or not. Our voter registration and voter situation is really out of hand. I mean, ballots are going to dead people, they're going to people's pets, they're going to one house has, 10 people living in it, and they all have the same name, and they all vote, and they all turn them in. We need a real reorganization, I should say, of our balloting. And it's, it costs money. It costs a lot for the citizens to do this. So I would simply ask for a hand-counted process on election night to restore our trust overnight, because there's just no trust in this system at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I was going to refer to Pat Burns as our Minuteman mayor for restricting public comments without real heavy volume, but I was pleased that he gave us 2 minutes. It must have been all the people he's roped into speaking tonight. I wanted to just comment on the previous speaker. I've worked for the Orange County Registrar of Voters for several elections, including the special election just passed. And she is so far wrong, it is just off the charts. So I just want to be able to say, and if she wants to go down and really talk to or tour the ROV office, she's welcome to do that. Anyway, Tim Geddes in the house. I guess Huntington Beach is on storm watch with Hurricane Michael blowing back into town. Whatever our former city attorney Michael Gates did or did not do in Washington, D.C., he helped create a hostile work environment here by pitting our MAGA city council against a large segment of the community and by costing the city big time. There were no guardrails protecting our local government with the scandalous Pacific Air Show settlement fiasco, no guardrails with the ridiculous jousting with Sacramento that may cost the city not only millions of dollars, but also lead to penalties, restrictions, and endless litigation. We need guardrails, starting with the election of community-backed council candidates like Taryn Palumbo and Ben Davis next year. Only guardrail representation will protect us. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am Dawn Thomas. This happened to be taken at the Huntington Beach Pier in 2008. This is my son and I. He's military. I actually was an observer at the ROV and watched the military votes be frauded. I have testified to that. Healing after an election is impossible when half the community believes the game is rigged. Transparency isn't a luxury, it's oxygen. Right now, our process is so opaque and convoluted that people walk away convinced something is wrong. Paper ballots mailed to every address, whether requested or not, drop boxes left unattended, ancient voter rolls, it's a recipe for distrust. The only antidote is a process so open and simple that suspicion starves. Let's give our residents that gift. We were promised universal mailing voting would explode turnout. It didn't. We were promised technology would make elections faster and cheaper. It hasn't. Instead, costs are up, timelines are longer, and we've lost trust. Anything is accurate. That's not progress, it's a farce. Bob Page is a good man stuck running a bad system designed by Sacramento. If they won't fix him, fix it. Then let Huntington Beach needs to be in charge and step up and run our own elections the way our grandparents did and our parents did, publicly, simply, and finished on election night. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I want to thank you, City Council and the City Manager, for inviting Orange County Registrar of Voters, Bob Page, to present tonight on election security. This is important information for all voters and candidates and elected officials. About 85% of Orange County voters cast their ballots by mail. Mr. Page will explain the system of checks and controls that ensure every valid ballot is counted, whether it's cast by mail or in person. Are there isolated cases of fraud? Yes, but they are not systemic or widespread, which is key. Orange County's election system is secure and transparent, open to anyone to observe. Strong internal controls, well-trained and experienced staff significantly reduce the risk of fraud, even if they cannot eliminate it entirely. Orange County remains a gold standard for election integrity, supported by the County Board of Supervisors, who provide the resources needed for fair and accurate elections. Thank you for your presentation tonight.
Freedom, democracy, truth. I am so happy today that Bob Page, the Orange County Registrar of Voters, is going to be speaking on the integrity of the Orange County elections. However, I find it very interesting that he's speaking under what's called a study session. When you invited United for Freedom to speak, that anonymous woman spoke under presentations, and I was wondering, why? And it dawned on me that it was because under presentations, she was telling a story. And did you know it was a story? It didn't have to be factual, just a story. Therefore, when you have Bob Page, the Registrar of Voters here, you are looking at it as a study on facts and findings. I will tell you that a number of us did go on United for Freedom's webpage, and the claims that they made were pretty muddled, well, untrue, because they claimed to have all these lawsuits, but they failed to tell you that they were dismissed for lack of facts and evidence. Therefore, the fact that you're going to study and take into account the factual findings of the Orange County elections is commendable. After all, you all are here because of the Orange County elections. And if you don't believe in the integrity of the Orange County elections, then shoot, why don't we have Natalie, Rhonda, and Dan up here? Why am I not sitting here?
They were voted
So
out.
thank you for inviting Bob Page, the Orange County Registrar of Voters, who will speak to the integrity of our elections.
Next speaker, please. Ma'am.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Elections used to be one day of our entire community came together. The neighbors talked, the kids handed out flyers, and we felt involved. Today, we're just spectators watching a black box system that none of us understand. The more we learn about Orange County's administration, the less confidence we have. Costs skyrocket, results take longer, the participation has plunged. Meanwhile, ballots are mailed to everyone, even to a dog, that somehow voted in the 2021 recall. If a dog can vote, what does that say about the rest of the list? There is no integrity in our voting system. We need transparency. We deserve a system that's transparent so that any child could explain it. No more machines, please. Let's do paper ballots, one-day voting, results immediately after the voting. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Amory Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Mr. Amory Hanson. I'm speaking tonight to inform the council that USA Snowboarding dropped its bid to be a governing body of surfing. This means that USA Surfing will most likely continue as the governing body of Olympic surfing. All sports are important to the Olympic movement. It is important that sports govern themselves to ensure governing bodies are truly representative of the sports played. I thank the council for expressing its support for self-governance and democracy in sport. I hope the council will continue to have many successes. Citius, Altius, Fortius. Faster, higher, stronger. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Mark Tonkovich. We voted for and we passed voter ID in Huntington Beach. Of course, it didn't take long for the state to turn around and sue us, so I encourage you to fight them. We voted for it. Our votes won. They want to combat it. The other thing, a picture ID is more secure than anything we're using right now. Every time you go to vote, you prove who you are by pulling that out. The current voter verification is done by comparing previous signatures to current. I vote in person sometimes. Sometimes I use the mail-in ballot. When you vote in person, you fill out a ballot, you scan it, and you sign on a monitor, a touch screen. You ever sign for a credit card at the drugstore? It doesn't look anything like your signature handwritten. So where's the validity behind that? Nothing can beat a government picture ID to be used when checking in. We also ought to go back to precinct voting. That was the simplest. We can turn it around in a few days. And instead of this cycle we're in right now, I believe it's 67 days from when it starts till it ends. Actually, today I checked, we're still counting the votes for Prop 50 in Orange County. So how secure is the system if a dog voted twice? Once voted for the recall and once voted for an actual election. That was done via the mail. I mean, who or what else can vote this way with the mail-in? The woman that did this, she shouldn't be prosecuted for showing holes in our system. She should be given a medal to show the incompetence of the system as it stands. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and honorable members of the City Council. My name is Kenny Noe. I lived in Huntington Beach for over 50 years. When Mayor Burns was asked to comment on the possibility that, as a result of the congressional redistricting provided by the passage of Prop 50, Huntington Beach could be represented by Congressman Robert Garcia, who is an accomplished, openly gay, progressive member of Congress, Mayor Burns replied the following. 1, I hope the new congressman from Long Beach comes in with the intention to represent the Huntington Beach and not his leftist agenda. 2, he stated that I hope he doesn't put agenda before people and his party before service. In light of Mayor Burns' comments, I respectfully request that our City Council pursue all future activities in a manner consistent with Mayor Burns' request of Congressman Garcia. And with the mindset, as stated by one of your supporters, and you know him well, my neighbor and friend, Mr. Ted Ross, who would like our City Council to proceed in a spirit of compromise to achieve shared goals with an emphasis on financial accountability and transparency. Thank you so much.
Next 10 speakers, Calvin, Ernst & Russell, Cheryl F., John Nakai, Pete, Lynn Muslin, Michelle Morgan, Jan Midnick, Brenda, Kathy Carrick.
Hello, council members. My name is Urson Russell. Mayor Burns, thank you as well. I'm here to talk about the elections. I'm doing this for a long time, and it's really disparaging and disheartening just to hear the divide that keeps happening in our communities. One side's completely convinced that they have it all figured out, and the other side just continues to have questions. And after 3.5 years, I don't quite know what the solution is. I don't see that the state's going to fix this, or that the county that has a centrally controlled system, and I've been, I have a lot of respect for the team and Bob Page and everyone that's down at the county registrar's voter's office, but there's processes that are followed, and then when those processes are done, things that fell off from being checked just get left on there. And that's where we have voters that are still on our rolls from like the 1990s that haven't voted since then. So there's all these examples, and it doesn't point to fraud, but it points to the fact that this very, very complex system that isn't being managed at the county level, that's being managed and centrally controlled at the state on almost every aspect, the process, the policy, and the way that you go about managing the administrations, is taking away the community aspect, and it's continuing to have an impact on our elections. It's disenfranchising voters, because it seems that every election there's one other pile of ballots somewhere. There's one other questionable thing. There's one non-human that voted. And it's going to continue on and on until our elections become really part of the community again. And I don't see that Sacramento is going to create the program to have community elections important again. And I think that's up to our local communities. And I see this body in this community here, if we can get all seats at the table and have some adult conversations, and let's try something that tries to heal what's going on in our elections. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, council members and mayor. My name is John Nakai. I've been a resident of Huntington Beach for the past 20 years, and I just wanted to voice some of the concerns and observations I've seen. We've implemented a lot of the Voters' Choice Act to give people more access, and so we have this mail-in ballot system, which is extremely expensive, and it is open, wide open to fraud. The people who the list of ballots goes out to people who may have been dead for 10 years or moved away 15 years ago or 5 years ago, and there's no way to really know if the person submitting the ballot is really the person who is legitimately supposed to vote. There's also no way with a mail-in ballot to be able to do any kind of ID check. Now, I know the voter ID check is a hot topic, but on the other hand, from a common sense standpoint, don't you really want people who are supposed to be voting checked to make sure that only the people who are supposed to be voting are actually voting? I mean, the Chinese could come in, send a bunch of people, and wipe out all the Huntington Beach votes with the number of people they have over there. So I do want to say stand up for voter ID. And I think we should go back to the precinct voting that we used to have before. With the current system, besides all the huge costs of printing, we turn in all those ballots. It's kind of like I take all the ballots and I throw them on the floor, and I pick them up, and then I have to run through all these expensive sorting machines, and then have herds of people going through trying to validate the IDs on the outside of the envelope.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to have this clarification opportunity to talk about some of the things found on the Prop 50 election reports that we're seeing currently. In looking at some of the unofficial ballot count reports, and if you can drill down, you can actually see how many yes votes and how many no votes have been cast. Well, as of now, we show 525 more votes in the records that are counted more than the total of the yes and the no votes that were cast. These are concerning because the numbers should match. They did on 11/5, but somehow they've failed to match now. Another report shows Prop 50 election had 488 undervotes. And I'm not sure why a yes-no vote should have an undervote, but this is something it would be interesting to find out. And there's another election result, unofficial election result versus the daily summary turnouts. And on that one, there was some concerns because the vote by mail unofficial election results versus the daily summary turnouts showed that 15,926 deletions were taken away from the turnout vote totals. And then on the vote in person, 4,753 more votes were counted than voters that actually cast an in-person vote. And then on this record, the turnout totals 17,086 deletions versus what actually came through. So those are concerns in numbers, and I think these are kinds of things that should be adjudicated. There's another unofficial daily total versus the raw count of in-person votes. There's 4,767 more votes counted than what they're showing as in raw in-person voting records. So again, there's a big discrepancy there in numbers that need to be adjudicated. Thank you.
Next speaker, please. Next speaker.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Yeah, I want to touch a couple of things right now. I've been a citizen of California all my life, and I've watched the voting process continue to degrade year after year, decade after decade, and everybody's saying, hey, let's get computers. It'll make it quicker, faster, and more efficient. Well, if you do a study of how much money is spent in the last 10 years on computers, it's cost us more to vote than just the old-fashioned way. I'm speaking about that because if Orange County is the gold star of voting, why is the DOJ investigating the ROV in Orange County? Which the ROV and all management has refused to respond to the DOJ. What does that tell me as a citizen of the state? Something's wrong with the gold star of Orange County's voting. Basically what it is the city, state, county of California, you've eroded voter confidence, and people are they're fed up. They're tired of what's going on. They get no answers. They get no response. They get support from the federal level and the state level box. What does that tell everybody? We need, as a city, to stand up and say, let us take care of our own voting and our own process and work it out. Basically, we are here as we the people to speak out at this fraudulent voting process here in Orange County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
My name is Jan Madnick. I'm a 44-year resident of Huntington Beach. Back on October 21st, when you had a presentation by an election denial group, I was one of the many Huntington Beach citizens to write and discuss and urge you to have Bob Page, our OC County Registrar, come speak the truth about election security at a city council meeting. Thank you for doing so tonight. And also to Congressperson Gruel for actually touring the facility, which I would suggest all of you who think that there's some problems with our elections to do the same thing. I'm so happy that you actually listened to my voice. It was a nice feeling. So on that basis, if I may use a little more time to strongly urge you not to hire Michael Gates back as an attorney in any position in Huntington Beach. He does not represent our interests in a professional manner and has cost us citizens thousands, if not millions of dollars. You can do better.
Next speaker.
First of all, I have gone and observed the ROV, and I've also done monitoring at various voting locations. But I want to commend and thank this council for supporting fair elections here in Orange County, particularly during a time when fraud seems rampant, made easier by drop boxes, mail-in ballots, and the elimination of local vote sites. There's been a lot in the news this week about release of the Epstein files, a call for full transparency, and yet we have those in this county, maybe even in this room, who are trying to block the release of voter records that are under subpoena by the Department of Justice in an effort to have that same transparency in our Orange County voting process. My understanding is that our Registrar of Voters, Bob Page, has promoted this resistance, and that's shameful. I'm sure he will try to justify this. Do not be fooled. I want to encourage you all to stand strong, and on behalf of Huntington Beach residents and all of Orange County, I thank you again.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening. Tonight I'm here because something fundamental is at stake, our trust in the very system meant to protect our constitutional right to vote. The right to vote is sacred. It is the foundation of every freedom we enjoy as Americans. Yet here in California, that right is being strained by systems that are inconsistent, vulnerable, and too often lacking real oversight. We are told to trust the process, but trust requires transparency. And right now, voters across this state are seeing warning signs. Millions of vote-by-mail ballots are sent out, yet large numbers never return. We all remember when a mail truck in Huntington Beach was robbed during Prop 50, with ballots inside. When ballots can disappear in transit, how can voters believe every vote is counted? Transparency, we are left with a patchwork of systems that fails to guarantee equal protection under the law. And enforcement, too often when laws are ignored or procedures violated, nothing happens, no accountability, no corrective action, no explanation to the public. When people can't trust that every legal vote is counted and only legal votes are counted, our democracy doesn't just weaken, it fractures. People disengage, people lose faith, and once confidence is lost, it is incredibly difficult to restore. This council has already shown an interest in election validity, and I want to commend you for that, because real reform does not start in Sacramento. It starts right here in our cities and counties where voters demand to be heard. So tonight I urge you to push for stronger, mandatory post-election audits, full transparency in how ballots are handled and counted, strict adherence to certified equipment, meaningful public reporting from the Secretary of State and the county election office. Thank you.
Thank you.
On a totally different topic, my grandmother, an Alabama cotton farmer, set me down at 8 years old, and that was considered the age of consent in the Southern Baptist Church to explain the facts of life. She told me that I would be getting the curse that comes with all women soon. She ordered me not to let any boys touch me, because bad things would happen. She forgot to tell me what those bad things could be. When her son sexually assaulted me at 9, I knew that I could not talk to her because I'm the one that would be beaten. The worst part was I wasn't sure what the curse was and what to call what he did to me, what to name it. When I was 11, I moved back with my mother and discovered libraries. I lived there, discovering the truth of what happened to me and to begin to understand what my body was and how it worked. That's what books do. They help children understand when the parents need help explaining, or they help a young girl who is terrified to tell anyone what happened to her to gain her voice. Reopen the teen section and quit trying to say you're doing it for the kids. You're only helping the pedophiles.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Mayor and the Council. My name is Calvin. I'm a resident of Orange County for the past 41 years. And since I retired, I've volunteered on a lot of things and decided to get involved with the election process. And the more I volunteered and went to the ROV and then also volunteered to cure ballots, and the more I kind of got disillusioned with the process. There's a lot of holes in it. And what really got me was, 2021, I thought we can make the better for California with the recall. But then that memory came back just recently with kind of told us everything we didn't know, which is the current system security requirements allow a dog to vote. And, that's the thing that if that happens, what else is being let through the system and not being vetted out? We still have, based on some of my research, we still have 125 to 175-year-old voters in Huntington Beach, and also people who haven't voted since the 1990s. So there's a little bit of a voter roll that needs to be cleaned up, and I don't understand why that doesn't get done as a regular routine procedure. So, with this Voter Choice Act and the ballots to everybody, the costs are up, the speed is down as far as counting, voter confidence in the long run is down too.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Carrick. I'm a 50-year resident of Huntington Beach. How many times have we heard we don't need voter ID because there is no graft? The problem I have with that is that it is not logical. When asked for ID at the airport, do we say, I'm not showing you my ID because I don't have a history of crashing planes? When asked for ID when buying liquor, do we say, I'm not showing you my ID because I've never lied about my age? Of course not. We say, yes, here is my ID. The purpose of showing an ID is to prove you are who you say you are. I think we all agree that we want secure and fair elections. We need to have confidence in the results. Voter ID is simply a way to strengthen the integrity of our vote. If we require ID to confirm our identity for everyday financial and safety transactions, it is totally logical to require it for the most fundamental act of citizenship, voting. Stop the nonsense, follow the logic. Let's work together to put voter ID into place. Thank you.
Next 10 speakers: Chris Cluey, John Rodelli, Max Daffron, Delane, Pat M., Annabella, Linda M., George A., Lisa H., Patricia Pappas.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and HB City Council members. Much of what follows, with a few updates, was presented to the Community and Library Services Commission meeting to consider the 2025 Parks and Recreation Master Plan. My name is John Rodelli, and I've enjoyed living in the great city of Huntington Beach for well over 20 years. In fact, I graduated from Edison High School in 1974. I'm here to respectfully request two things for consideration as it relates to the potential possibility of 4 more bocce ball courts at Edison Park and the restoration of the existing 4 synthetic resin bocce ball courts at Murdy Park. First, I respect and understand that the Community and Library Services Commission has already passed approval for the amenities at Edison Park that do not include bocce ball courts. My comments here are to lay the groundwork for a possible last-minute appeal to the City Council to please consider 4 synthetic resin bocce ball courts in the new park design. Edison Park is located on the far other end of town, a full 6-7 miles away, and would serve a large portion of our community, particularly seniors and recreational players who currently have no convenient access to a quality bocce facility. I'm not going to finish this, but I sent in an email, written supplemental communication, and I hope you've had a chance or will have a chance to look at it. The courts are suffering there at Murdy Park. They need restoration badly. And I had met with Kristen Martinez. She said she's going to put it on the budget for next year. I hope that's the case. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, Chris Cluey, Huntington Beach resident. I want to thank the council for allowing Bob Page to present from the OC Registrar of Voters. I am looking forward to the presentation, and I'm sure it will be factual and filled with useful information that I hope everyone pays attention to. I would also like to thank Mayor Burns for giving us 2 minutes, which I'm sure has nothing to do with the crowd of people behind us currently in the audience. But what I would really like to point out is, are you guys aware of the atmosphere that you are creating right now? You talk about distrust. You talk about not being able to trust our voting systems. And you are the ones that are creating that. You're the ones who brought in the voter denial group to do their presentation. You are the ones that are eroding what this community has. And for what? You guys were elected by that system. You're sitting up there. You won Congress. You won the Senate. You won the presidency. Are we to say that those were all invalid? Because sure, I'll take that. Are you going to resign right now? Are you going to say that our system doesn't work and actually have the courage to stand behind that and not do this job anymore? Because I think that you know the system works and you counted on the system working because it got you into power. And the people of this city voted for you, and we all have to live with that. But when you try to call that into account and say that it's false, you are the ones that are tearing America apart. And I really hope the people behind me pay attention to this presentation so that way you can actually understand that our elections, while not perfect, are fair and they are trustworthy. So please pay attention to this presentation. Thank you.
My name is Harry McLaughlin. I want to thank the council for inviting Bob Page to come here and give a presentation tonight, and I would like to thank Councilman Gruhl for showing up at the tour. I wish the rest of you could have made it, maybe next time. I've got something. I spoke here back when the world was young on September 14th, 2023, and we actually had 3 minutes to talk. Nationwide, there has been an ongoing effort to instill fear and doubt in the security and legitimacy of our voting systems, one of the foundations of our democracy. Fabricated entirely out of whole cloth, it is a ginned-up solution to a problem that does not exist. As a poll worker during elections, I know firsthand that this is pure baloney based on falsehoods and misinformation. The Orange County Registrar of Voters is a national model for how the voting process should be carried out. Please explain to our citizens why this current Republican council majority wishes to exert any measure of local control over a county election model that currently functions quite well without additional local interference. I find it curious that the only election shenanigans pulled off either locally or on the national level are those being attempted by Republicans. Locally in 1988, Garden Grove's Kurt Pringle hired uniformed security guards to intimidate Latino voters in entering vote centers. They were sued and they fined $40,000. Nationwide, in December of 2020, Republican groups from 7 states submitted lists of fake so-called alternate electors to the National Archives. These included dozens of local Republican Party leaders, 4 current candidates for public office, 6 current office holders, and at least 5 federal office holders. The indictments and potential indictments of these Republicans fraudsters are playing out in real time as I speak. However, our felon-in-chief has decided to pardon them all. Nothing has changed from September 14th, 2023 to now. We can do better.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening, everyone. Council, Mayor. The price tag for Orange County election keeps climbing. But what do we have to show for it? Longer counts, more confusion, reduced voting options, and 0 noticeable increase in participation. Meanwhile, a dog voted in 2021 and nobody was fired. That alone should tell us the system is broken beyond patching. We don't need another audit or another task force. We need to go back to what worked for 200 years. Neighbors counting ballots in front of neighbors on election night. Huntington Beach can start that revolution. Let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Next speaker, please.
Mayor and council members, I really appreciate you allowing us to come and speak today and your patience with all the comments. Confidence in our elections is not growing, it's collapsing. Every new detail we learn about Orange County's system makes people feel more disenfranchised. Many people don't even vote because they don't think their vote, they don't bother voting because they don't think their vote is going to count. We automatically mail ballots to every name on the list, whether they ask for one or not. We have voters in Huntington Beach who haven't cast a ballot in 15 years, still listed as active. And for the November 4th special election, we had fewer than 70 in-person vote centers, down from 190 the year before. That's not expanding access, that's shrinking it. We can do better, and we should right here start in Huntington Beach. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. The single biggest threat to our republic right now is apathy. And apathy is winning because people no longer believe their vote is counted accurately. Every news story, dogs voting, someone caught cheating, endless delays pushes more citizens towards why even bother. We can reverse that spiral overnight with community transparency. One day, in person, hand counted in public. If the state won't permit it, nothing should stop our community from doing it for our own municipal races and showing the rest of California how it's done. We need to lead by example. Thank you.
Good evening, City Council. Thank you so much for putting up with us tonight and hearing both sides. We appreciate it. Elections are supposed to bring us together and not drive us apart. Right now, they appear to be doing the opposite, but I, like many citizens in Orange County, get these in my email box. You probably get them too. So they called the election in California before Orange County ROB even submitted one tally for in-person voting. Later on that night, there were several, like 112,000 votes that were counted from vote centers, and the majority of them voted no on Prop 50. But we wouldn't know that. scanning, voting in person the first day, scanning on election day is the best way to vote. It is the one that is most cost effective. But yet, did you get any flyer in the mail that told you scan your vote? If you can, scan on election day. That would save the county lots of money. And it would give us more accurate votes, and it would give us votes counted on time. Thank you very much.
Next.
Well, I picked quite the night to come introduce myself to the community. Honorable Mayor and Council, my name is Max Daffron. I've met plenty of you before in the previous week. I am the new president and CEO of the Huntington Beach Chamber of Commerce. I'm also a lifelong Huntington Beach resident and a Huntington Beach native. It's great to be here serving the community. I wanted to come out and actually thank you all for participating in the State of the City event last week. The fabulous presentation from the city, Mayor Burns and Mayor Pro Tem, your speeches were incredible. Really appreciate the partnership. Really looking forward to continued partnership with our business community here in Huntington Beach. Really, the possibilities are endless. We have over 10,000 businesses in this great city, and I'm very happy to be home and partnering with all of you in the future to make Huntington Beach the best place to do business in California. So thank you very much, and great to meet all of you.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Council. I'm Delane Bailey, and I'm here because a 12-year-old asked me how votes are counted. And I couldn't give him a straight answer without sounding like a conspiracy theorist. That's a problem. We have voters in Huntington Beach listed as active who haven't voted since George Bush Jr. was in office. And with inactive voters, it's even worse. I heard we had a dog vote. Drop boxes have no cameras or way to know who puts ballots in, and yet we're told this is the most secure system ever. If the state won't let Bob Page fix obvious flaws, then let our city take control of our own elections. One day, in person, hand-marked, hand-counted, finished by midnight, simple, transparent, done.
Hello, Patricia Pappas. We're lived here about almost 46 years, and I prepared a one-page document and asked the officer to bring it to the dais. I actually, on that one-page document, it has 2 photos of the envelopes that we put our ballots in. I can put a flashlight up through where the vote is cast and see if it's a yes or no answer. So those are 2 pictures right there, and then something else I'm going to be talking about, which is 2 ballots that were sent to the same resident in Huntington Beach. And those ballots I have right in my hand here from the picture. I help with election by collecting ballots and delivering them directly to the registrar's office in Santa Ana. So I drove to the ROV on Sunday, November 2nd, 2025, to check in 108 ballots. All 108 ballots were reviewed to make sure that I had signed the top of each ballot envelope, and I asked the person at the check-in window to answer a question for me. I told her my girlfriend's daughter had received 2 ballots and asked why this would be. She gave me the frequently asked questions card with a scan code to use, and also told me that I could call the ROV. And I said, but I'm here at the ROV. Then I asked to speak to someone else. I went to the large window and spoke to Laura. I told her that my girlfriend's daughter had received 2 ballots and asked her why that might happen. Laura stated, well, she probably requested another ballot. And I said, no. Then I said, well, Laura said, it was probably raining. And then she said to me, well, if you would all just do what you're supposed to do and mail in your ballots, then we would not have these problems. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Burns and City Council members. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you for your attention. I really appreciate that. Last year, I found out a bit about our election process by observing at the Registrar of Voters several times. And I'd actually been busy teaching the last 20 years and wasn't really paying attention as we segued from neighborhood precincts, and gradually they funneled us to more and more precincts meeting together and fewer places to vote. And so I'd been busy. I was horrified to find out that people could register to vote on election day. And I had looked it up. I thought it was in October, and I found out, no, they could register that day, which is totally open for fraud. How many of us could explain our current election process to a friend without notes? Signature verification algorithms, batch uploads, United States Post Office chain of custody breaks, and the voter boxes, or the where we drop our ballots. I'm sorry. I'm not used to doing this. Without cameras. It's absurd. We used to vote in our neighborhoods, and we knew our neighbors, and often we would recognize people that we knew that lived on our streets. And so if somebody came to vote, it would be obvious if they didn't live in our area. And so now we're asked to trust the experts, and I'm sorry, I don't trust anyone anymore with everything that we've seen come out. I'd rather trust my neighbors. So sorry.
It's okay.
Anyway.
Next speaker. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Chris Jacobson. I'm a lifelong Orange County resident. Thank you for listening. Just imagine explaining our current election system to a kindergartner. You can't, because it's incomprehensible. It's impossible to do that. Now, imagine explaining a hand count on oversized bingo cards in the high school gym. Any 5-year-old gets that instantly. That's the difference between trust and distrust right there. We don't need more technology, and I'm a tech guru and I'm a tech head, but we need less. We need paper. We need simplicity, openness, and as many of the speakers have been espousing, we need same-night results. If Sacramento and Orange County refuse to deliver that to our community, Huntington Beach should. And I'd like to add, as a Christian, I have a stewardship responsibility for what I've been entrusted with to pass it along in at least as good a condition as I received it. That's number one. Number two, as a citizen of America, a valid legal citizen born here in the United States, I have an active civic duty, not just a right, but I have a responsibility to be educated, to be informed, and to vote accordingly, and to hold elected officials and representatives accountable. So I want to leave everybody with 2 Chronicles 7:14. Thank you.
Good evening. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I was motivated by listening to a lot of the questionable comments from my friends on the left. It reminds me of the person that poisons the water one day and they show up the next day as a water commissioner. And so what we have here is, the gerrymandering here in California, we're like the kings of gerrymandering. California, 43% of our voters are Republican, and yet we only had 18% representation. And now with this latest proposal on 50, we're down to 18%, we're down to 6% representation. If it was flipped to the other side would be going crazy, burning buildings and pushing over cop cars. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now let's look at why. If you look at California, we have the supermajority is the Democrats up in Sacramento. You've got things going on like the bullet train where there's billions of dollars wasted. You have sanctuary cities where we have illegal aliens all over the state of California, and they're allowing them to vote. That's why we don't have voter ID. Voter ID, you show it when you go to the bank, you show it when you buy liquor, you show it when you go to the airport, and yet when you...
I'd like to thank Bob Page for coming out of his busy schedule to speak to us tonight. I know the two people on the dais there did take the tour and probably can vouch how safe and secure our elections are. I know I hear this nostalgia lane having, to vote in your garage, how you could count them by hand. We have how many voters in Orange County? Over 3 million. How are you going to do that one night? That doesn't sound very secure to me. We have 23 million voters in the state of California. So we used to be able to drink out of our hoses during the summer. We used to be able to find parking at the beach. We used to do a lot of things. A Big Mac was about 39 cents perhaps. But things changed. We have such a large volume of voters that we just can't go back. We're supposed to be going forward, and we thank Bob Page for doing that. Also, I want you to reconsider the hiring of Michael Gates. There are probably some better candidates out there that will not cost us taxpayers millions and millions and millions of dollars. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Yes, good evening. My name is Russell Neal, and I live in Huntington Beach. Our system of personal freedom with limited government is the exception in human history and not the rule. As we approach our nation's 250th birthday, we should ask ourselves, what is the precondition for this blessing? John Adams said our limited government required a moral and religious people. If we cease to be such a people, if we cast God's law behind our backs, we will cease to be free. Let us all keep this fundamental truth in mind. Thank you and good evening.
Next speaker, please. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ellen Riley, and I am a bit concerned about the return of Michael Gates to a position, because if the position existed and was an open position, which he left, then it should be a competitive. If there is a position, then it should be competition. That's what happens with most open positions. People apply. So I am concerned about that, and I'm also concerned about his return because he has cost us millions of dollars, lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit against Sacramento. I can't say whether they're valid or not, but he lost most of them, and he lost the city millions of taxpayers' dollars, and that is not something I think we should allow to be repeated unless we look into it very carefully. And also, if there is an open position, then I think it should be open to competition. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Jignesh Padyar, a lifelong resident here in Huntington Beach. It seems like a broken record that we're back here talking about voting again and again. Huntington Beach voted almost close to unanimously that we wanted voter ID, but we passed by 80%, almost 75%, right? And you guys are chuckling over that. It's sad. Voter ID protects Democrats and Republicans. The only people it doesn't protect are those who are illegal and those who do not want to work the system correctly. Like, this is why we can't have common ground. You guys don't even want to have voter ID. It literally is who you're supposed to be, is who you vote for. It takes California weeks to decide on an election. India, the largest democracy, has over 640 million votes, and they can decide after one night who won. Like, this is ludicrous. The longer that this goes, the more we believe that there is fraud, and then we begin to think that it's actually occurring. So voter ID, at the end of the day, is not meant to just protect yourself as an individual so a dog doesn't take over your vote, but it protects everyone else around you. I was too young to remember the neighborhood times, but I do recall going with my parents and seeing that camaraderie, seeing it in the garages. I don't know how secure that was, but it seems like from what people are saying, they appreciate it. You're chuckling again, but look at the system we have. We have more people more doubtful now of the system than we had before. Like, do you not see that where your cognitive dissonance is just stopping you from being able to see what you're looking in front of? Like, you have to understand, we cannot trust the system anymore. So what can we trust? Our eyes and our hands, not the computers. So let's go back to what we can do. What we know best is what was working in the past, hopefully. Michael Gates, also, we look forward to having you back. I know some people in the community didn't like that you were wasteful spending and fighting the government, but over $300 million was spent on Elon and Breakwater, and it was crickets from the left.